Welcome to In the Kitchen with Dinah. Today we're making berry pie.
Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah. Someone's in the kitchen, I know. Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah. Gonna taste good, I know.
I thought I'd show you how to make homemade pie crust and a homemade delicious berry filling to go with it. It's Pie Week. It's gonna be March 14th if you go the 3.14 and play on that. I always have because it's super fun. It's one of those fun dates and I thought I'd play on it for you guys today. I'm just using a berry blend that I got at Costco. They're frozen berries. If you have fresh berries and want to make this in the summer, you totally can do that too. The first thing that we're gonna do is get our filling ready for our pie. You want 6 to 7 cups of berries. This is my 4-cup measurer. I like a fully loaded pie just because by the time they cook down, it's gonna shrink a lot. So the more the merrier. So there's 4, I'm gonna go probably 6 to 7 cups of berries. It's almost the whole container here. All right, that puts us at 7, which is a bowl full. And you'll want the same amount if you're using fresh berries. So this one is strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries. So this has just been sitting out on my counter for a little minute. They're kind of frozen and kind of thawed. All right, so to this mixture, we want 1 cup of sugar. So let's grab that. Now, if you find that your berries are a little more on the tart side, add a little more sugar. And then we're gonna add some tapioca. Now you can use tapioca, flour, or cornstarch because you want a thickening agent. When all these berries bake, they're gonna, make some juice and you want that nice, thick, gelatin-esque filling in your pie. So I'm using tapioca, I like that. So we want either 3 tablespoons of tapioca or 1/4 cup of cornstarch. I just like how tapioca thickens the pie. Either way, it's gonna taste good. The other thing we're gonna want is just a splash of vanilla in there. Well, that's a little splash. It's probably a teaspoon or so. Then we're just gonna give this a good stir. And as we're making our crust, it's gonna get all mixed in and kind of sit there and be happy. And yeah, I should have gotten a bigger bowl, but dirty this one now. Oh my, that smells so good. Blueberries don't want to stay in the bowl. All right, that looks good. So let's set that aside and now we're gonna work on our crust. Now, if you're into the whole milling your own fresh flour, you want to use 2.5 cups of soft white wheat. I am using all-purpose store-bought today, just for the sake of getting rid of what I have left in my bin. So I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Now in a pie crust, I do like using shortening. I'm using 3/4 cup. So we're gonna get that in there. And we need some salt. Need a teaspoon of salt. And this is a crust that I really like. It just has flavor, a lot more flavor, and it has egg and some sugar in it. So I've got a tablespoon of sugar. And now what we're gonna do is take a pastry cutter and just cut the shortening into your flour till that gets really well mixed in. Now, if you want, you can use butter. I just find that shortening gives you a flakier crust. You can also use like lard or something like that if you want. You could even try using half butter, half shortening. This is one of those things where I find that shortening is the flaky crust winner. All right, so I've got it to just a kind of thick crumbs, and I forgot to get some water. I need some icy cold water. I just grabbed this, it was sitting in the dishes, and I'm gonna put an ice cube in there, or 2. Get it nice and cold. So I've got 1 egg, and this is not a normal ingredient for a pie crust. A lot of people would just add water to this. I love the flavor and depth and just structure, the richness that then adding an egg to your pie crust. So I beat up 1 egg, pour it in. And I have a 1/2 cup of water here, and I'm just gonna add a tiny bit Got my ice cube in there, keeping it nice and cold. Well, if you use warm water, it's gonna just melt everything, and you want it cold to keep your shortening and whatnot on the colder side. We don't need too much more. That looks pretty great. All right, I'm gonna grab some flour for my bench here. Sprinkle some flour down. So once it comes together like this, and you can just kind of just forms a really nice dough. And this is for 2 pie crusts. So we're making a berry pie, so it's gonna have a top and a bottom to it. If you want to make like a cream pie or a pudding pie or a Dutch apple or something with like crumbs on the top, you'll have 2 pies. And if you want to do that, you can just put it in your pie pan and bake it for 18 to 20 minutes at 425. It's called blind baking. That's a whole nother episode. All right, so I've got my dough. It's in a nice circle here. And I'm just gonna eyeball it. Take half of it. Got half for the top and half for the bottom. You just want to roll it out so it's super thin.
And big enough, right?
And big enough, yeah. That happened. Just pat it back together. All right, so I've got my pie dish over here. And I'm just gonna pick it up. I'm gonna kind of just hold it over and measure. So if your pie is bigger than your pie pan, your pie crust is bigger than your pie pan, you're probably okay. I'm gonna go a little bit further. Okay, so the fun part, this is the best way that I figured out. You just want to pick it up real gentle, roll it back onto your pie, your rolling pin. It's sticking really good there. And then I just set it down. Well, that wasn't a very good job. Let's try that again. Now you could, if you want, put your pie crust in the fridge, let it get a little stiffer. I just make a pie and we just get her done. I don't usually refrigerate my pie crust. Then I just take it, I'm just gonna pat it, get it into all the little corners of your pie dish. Okay, now we're gonna set that aside and do the other pie crust. All right, before I get too far, I'm realizing we should put the filling in. So we've got our filling, it's been sitting here. I'm gonna just pour this in. Those blueberries. Just gonna kind of tuck all those berries in. All right, I just forgot, we need the oven on. So let's go turn the oven on to 400 degrees real quick. So that is gonna sit and hang out. They're still a little frozen. That's all right. And this will work for any fruit, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, marionberries. If you got berries or cherries or anything like that, totally work. All right, that looks like it will fit on the top. So same thing, really gently pull it up, scoot my pie over, and then lay it on the top. Okay. So now you want to seal your crust, the top crust and the bottom crust, so that all of those berries, when they're bubbling up, stay inside. So I just take some water here, and you're just going to brush it on there and then squish it down. Now, if you got like big chunks like over here that are really hanging down, just kind of trim them down. Now, you could take a fork and just press it all around together, or you can take it and make it a little pretty. That's a lot of it over here too. My pies usually come out very rustic, bakery-esque, homemade, yes. So now I'm gonna take it, kind of pinch together on the top. You can go, I find that this way works best. This takes a lot of finesse. I am not great at this part. Now we're back to the beginning. Now you can go back and make it a little prettier if you want. To me, that looks all right. All right, to have the fun with the pie day, we always want to make sure you have a vent in the top of your pie. So I am going to make a pie sign for pie day. I always did this when the kids were home, and it was kind of fun to have pie on pie day, whether it be a berry pie or whoopie pies or some sort of pie. So one time I think I made chicken pot pie and a berry pie just because it was super fun. All right, highly recommend either setting this on a cookie sheet or getting a pie drip pan, just because these usually bubble over, and that's okay. But if you put it on here, it will just save your oven from all the bubbly mess. So I'm gonna just set this on here. Our oven is not quite hot yet, so I'm gonna clean this up, let this sit here, and as soon as it beeps, we will be putting it in the oven. You wanna make sure we're gonna cook it at 400 for 15 minutes, and then you're gonna see me in 15 minutes go turn it down to 350, or we'll cook it for 45 minutes at 350. So I'm gonna clean this up, wait for my oven, and I'll be back. So my oven just got up to temperature. One last thing I wanted to share with you. I like to brush a little egg wash or milk wash on the top and then sprinkle it with a little sugar. So I'm just gonna do that real quick. It helps just brown the crust really beautifully.
Now, is it okay if there's a little water or a little milk in the trough?
Yeah, I can't get it out. I mean, gravity is gonna pull it down. So, I mean, you try to brush it up, but what do you do? And I'm just gonna sprinkle some sugar on. Really only a couple of tablespoons. Okay, let's get this in the oven. Remember, it's 400 degrees for 15 minutes, and then we're gonna turn it down to 350 for 45. This is heavy, so be careful. All right, so that's been 15 minutes, so let's go to 350 degrees for 45 minutes. Look at that pie. It's bubbling, it's dripping. That is all signs of a good pie. Yum. Look at this, and let me turn the pie around so this pie is with you. You can tell a good pie, I mean, mine always bubble over. It just is what it is. But one of the things, because we used frozen berries, I had to add like 20 more minutes onto it. You really want it bubbling good, like it's still bubbling. And the thing that you want is you really want the inside of your pie to get to 212 degrees. That's gonna help. If you used cornstarch, it's gonna help that slurry to get thick. And if you're using the tapioca, it's gonna also help that. We are gonna let this delicious smelling pie cool, and then I'll show you what it looks like when we slice into it later. Well, it's next day, and I'm gonna cut into this delicious pie because we're gonna have some here. So as you can see, it's beautiful browned. I don't know if you can hear that crust, but it is crispy and flaky. Got glued, some of the berries gooed out over here, and see if I can get it out. Sometimes getting out the first piece is always the hardest. We call it the sacrificial piece. And it is just exactly that.
Welded in.
Oh yeah, look at that. Yum. My problem is I can never get the tip out. It's stuck in there.
Ah, well, that's a little snacky.
That is, but look how beautiful it is. The berries are still pretty much intact, and it is thick and delicious, and I just can't even wait to eat this.
Yum.
Yum. Well, I hope you guys make some pie, celebrate Pie Day, have fun with the kids. It's not that easy as they say, it's easy as pie. So I hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you on the next video. Again, thanks for joining me. Today, we're making pie.
Pie. Because it's
Homemade pie.
Homemade what pie?
Homemade berry pie. Should we just call it berry pie? Today, we're making a berry pie.
Okay, something
Very,
like that.
very good pie. Well, this week, It's gonna be, oh my gosh, should I? Let me think all of these things through. So I've got 3.
Man, I can't wait. That sounds
I know,
so
it's
good.
just bubbling and burping.
It smells amazing.
So good.
Gonna taste good, I know.